Conversations with Iris. Here's your host, my loving wife, Iris.
Hello, beautiful people. Hola, mi gente bonita, and welcome back to Conversations with Iris, where we hold the space for real talk, raw truth, and that good stuff I love to call heart. Because you know what? Every story matters. Your voice matters. And not because it's perfect, but because it's real. And this little podcast right here, peoples, it's all about honoring those voices and creating conversations that just move us forward and just fill your heart with spark, pizzazz, and just happiness all the way around. And hey, I'm here with you guys every step of the way. So listen, whether you're driving to work, cooking dinner, or just taking a quick stroll, you could download me, stream this episode, and also subscribe to Conversations with Iris on all platforms. Episodes are easy to take with you, and they're packed with stories that will just hit your soul. There's something about these episodes that are just special. Come on now. And of course, I quickly got to just say this out there. Show some love to our other podcasts out there, the Short Desk Podcast, the one that paved the way to help this little podcast that could just come to life. So don't forget about them. All right. So now I'm going to get back to our conversation because you know what? This conversation right here is about alignment, resilience, and what it really means to live in your truth, okay? My guest is a powerhouse, a speaker, an MC, and an event coordinator as well at the director of group coaching of that next level university. She has shared her message on over 100 podcasts, has held many speaking engagements, and has had her platform, her footprint on very various stages across the countries, guiding women to redefine that thing we love to call success and helping them reconnect themselves and create just habits that truly just stick with your soul, right? But wait a minute now. What makes her story even more powerful is that she lived this work before she even taught it, rebuilding her health, identity, and self worth after years of chronic illness. At the heart of everything she teaches, just three very simple pillars, okay? They're called self worth, self belief, and consistency. Very important. Those three pillars are the foundation for lasting transformation. She's here to bring her wisdom, real talk, and a whole lot of truth to this space. Beautiful people, please help me welcome Amy Lenius. Welcome and bienvenidos to my podcast, my dear.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here and for our conversation today.
Oh my God, I'm so glad. And if you guys don't know this, Amy is actually tuning in all the way from Canada. So, how is that? Let's talk a little bit about Ontario.
Oh, yeah. So, same time zone, like I said, as you, just way up north. And Ontario is actually really beautiful. We moved from British Columbia out west, actually, a few years ago to just have more space, be closer to some different family, and to set down some roots in a really small town. I'm talking like if you really expand it out with farmland, it's like 4,000 people. So, not very big. And
Oh
we
my
love it.
God. I love that. That sounds very homey and toasty and just cozy. I love it already. Oh my
It
God,
is.
Amy. And let me tell you, the one thing that stood out to me about your journey is that before you even started teaching personal development, you were actually living it. Okay. I think that's a lot. That's a lot. And let me tell you why. Because rebuilding your health, your identity, your sense of self worth alone, that's powerful because so many people are out there trying to teach what they haven't walked through, right? It's kind of hard when you can't relate to that level. And
Yeah.
yeah, and I like to start right there because when you look back at the chapter of your life, what was that turning point that shifted everything for you and eventually led you to do this beautiful work?
Oh my goodness, beautiful question. I think you're right. I think now that we're exposed to so many different avenues of life through social media, we see a lot of people doing things for the gram, let's say, instead of really living it. And again, it's beautiful, it's nice to watch, but when we want to really live it ourselves, that can look very different. And I'm so excited to get into that today. But my turning point was when I had a moment with my health that was a moment of clarity for me. So I grew up very sick. I grew up with a condition called endometriosis. It's a very hormonally female driven condition. And I was sick for many years, chronic pain, all the things. And I had been through many surgeries, all sorts of different medications, hormone interventions. And I had this moment of clarity in my early 20s where I was like, okay, this is excessive. I'm doing all of these things and I'm still in pain almost every day. So let's just pause for a moment and see what I can do to reset, reconnect with my body, and go from there. So I went off of everything, stopped everything I was doing safely. You want to do that safely. And just got to know my body again and started playing around with different modalities. There are so many different modalities of health out there just waiting for you to explore and to give a try. And so
Yeah.
that was also really fun. I stepped into like acupuncture, cranial sacral therapy, naturopathy, physiotherapy. I myself was training to be a massage therapist at the time. And so I had a lot of fun connections as well as building my own knowledge of anatomy and physiology. And so that combined with just this will to do better, try harder,
Mm.
be more consistent with something, it led me into being able to become, I mean, over time, again, I would love for all the women listening out there who struggle with even just period pain or anything like that to say, well, this was the one thing that I did and you can too. When in reality, real life journeys are not that way. It's a combination of many things and many years and an accumulation of knowledge and practice and consistency and habits. And I know that's not sexy to talk about, but it is what works. The
Yes.
unsexy fundamentals, we call them.
You know
And
what? And I feel like we have to talk about those things more. And I don't mean to cut you off there for any reason, I promise, but I love that you said that. It's not a sexy topic to talk about, but we need to talk about it more because period pain sucks. Okay. Let's just be honest. Let's put it out there. It sucks, you
it's
know?
the worst.
Oh, it is the worst for sure. Oh my goodness.
And it
So, and I'm sorry, go ahead. I don't mean to cut you off there.
I think it's we accept it because it's common.
Mm,
Women's health issues are so common that we accept it as normal, but just because something is common does not make it normal or okay. And so, if you are struggling with hormones or anything like that out there, there are so many things that are waiting for you to try genuinely. And what worked for me may not work for you. What worked for Becky may not work for Nicole. But again, there's so many
yeah.
things, and we're all these individual beings that it is worth the continuation of trying and continuing to find what works for you. So, through a lot of incredible knowledge accumulation, practice accumulation, habits, and collaborations with healthcare professionals, I was able to become pain free from a condition that I was told is impossible to do so. And
Wow.
people always say, well, what was the one thing? What was the one thing? There really wasn't. It was a lot of things of shifting and healing my internal environment, acknowledging that my external environment plays a huge role on my internal health, whether it be toxins or stress or people, persons, places, things. And that combination led me to fall in love with the word holistic. Holistic meaning that everything affects everything else, whether we like to think it does or not. And so looking back, again, hindsight's always 2020, but now that I can look back at what kept me going, I can see that I had a very high level of self-belief. And I
Mm,
had a certain amount of level of self-worth. My self-worth was lower for sure than my self-belief, where I actually didn't believe that I deserved to feel sick anymore. And unfortunately, what we see with chronic illness is a lot of people build it into their identity where they almost deep down believe that they are unworthy of taking the time, effort, and whatever it takes, investing into feeling better because they believe that that is now who they are. It's a part of their identity. And so now that I get to do the work that I do, I still get to help women with their cycles and understand that there's an ebb and flow to your life, that you're different from week to week to week. But what I get to focus on now that I've expanded my knowledge, partnered with the guys at Next Level University, where they even taught me even more about this, that it was self belief, it was self worth, it was my ability to be consistent. And now that I've worked with many people in all sorts of success journeys, not just health. I'm talking wealth journeys, relationship journeys. Again, success is so subjective. And I've been able to tap into all of these incredible people through this company and this community. I can see that we always meet the level of our self belief, our self worth, and our ability to be consistent. And again, those are just those unsexy fundamentals, but that are prevalent and important across the board.
And I love that. And you talk about how, the having that high self-belief, that self-worth and consistency when you found it. And I love how you spoke about your holistic approach because I feel like when you tap into that, that definitely does something to your soul, right? It just kind of helps everything out. And you figured out, you know what? I'm just not sick anymore here. There's something more to do with this. And when you first stepped into coaching, you took all these fundamentals, you were free from pain and you were speaking. You did every like imaginable thing, it would become this part of your identity, right? You help women redefine that particular success. So let me ask you, did you feel it more like you were just following that next right step at that time when you started dabbling into the coaching aspect of it?
Yeah, I even on the journey to healing, it was the next right step. What is next? How have I accumulated what I need to from this step, and how can I continue to take it forward? And the people who are able to do that typically have high self-belief. Self-belief being self-efficacy is the technical term for it. It's what we believe we're capable of doing externally and achieving externally, our competency and things like that. And so it's really neat to be able to see that if you can follow those next right steps, whether it be in your health journey, wealth journey, whatever success means to you, but that's what I have done genuinely in my career. I have moved into being a massage therapist where I got to get a name for myself as a pre and postnatal caretaker, pelvic balancer for women. And then I got to start speaking about my own health journey, combining my knowledge of anatomy and physiology. I got asked to speak on incredible stages for years. It was wonderful, and that led me to being asked by the guys here at NLU that I work with currently to be their MC and come help them run live events, to falling in love with everything that they do. So now I help them run group coaching. I have my own coaching practice through them, and we do a lot of incredible things. Book club, monthly meetups. There's so many incredible things that this platform has to offer. But if you look, there's a through line in everything. And I always invite people to do the same. When you have evolved into different things in your life, what was the through line that you enjoyed the most? Or what was the through line that you were so connected to? And mine has always been educating, empowering people with knowledge so that they can have a better life themselves and they can start doing things in a tangible way. I believe in leaving people always with steps that they can implement right away. And that has been a through line through my practice as an RMT, through my speaking, through I had my own coaching program for women called the Peaceful Period Project for a while. And now all of that knowledge has accumulated into what I've been able to bring to NLU. And so it's really fun when you can have someone do that exercise of, okay, what has been the through line and where have you expanded into that was aligned and that felt compelling? It felt like you were growing. It felt like you were expanding with each step you took. Or where was a step that took you off the rails, took you from that through line, took you from alignment where you didn't feel centered, you didn't feel fulfilled there. And those are really good tells.
Oh, and that's good to know. And thank you for saying that. And when you said, what is the thrill line you enjoy the most, right? You
Mhm.
ask that question a lot to a lot of women, and it involves so much honesty. And people in general, I feel like, just struggle with separating who they really are from what society tells them that they should be, right? When you are in the process of guiding someone back to themselves and when they feel disconnected for so long, what do those steps look like when you get to know somebody that joins your coaching technique and program?
Yeah, we dive into a lot of identity work. I love that you said what society puts onto us because, especially when you're working with women, there is a layer of societal pressure there that is wild. So when I deal with women and am helping them build their self-worth, If you ask women where their worth comes from, 9.9 times out of 10, they will name something external. And that is because of how we were raised, how we grew up, what society says. Because if you're a good woman, that means you're a good mother, you're a good friend, you're a good daughter, you're a good wife, you're a contributor to the school that your kids go to, the community. That's what makes a good woman. And it's all external, it's all what we do for others. And again, we can find value in that ourselves if we love those things, but our worth can't always come from external sources. And so it's always neat to be able to pinpoint what is actually hers versus what is something she was built to believe about herself. And so we always dive into core values, core beliefs, and core aspirations. Those three are like a roadmap to alignment and fulfillment. And so if you have a core aspiration, so a goal in mind, say you want to have a certain level of fitness or you want to build a business, and it is conflicting with some of your core values and core beliefs, you will never make it there. You will always
Mm.
find a way to trip yourself up. Maybe you have a belief that it's possible because you've seen it out in the world. This aspiration, this goal is possible. But then you ask the next layer, do I believe it's possible for me? And those can be two different answers. Those are really powerful questions to ask people. Do you believe it's possible? Yes. Do you believe it's possible for you? Oh, and there's a layer there that is beautiful to unpack. And then it's, is it going to be worth it? Because people set a lot of goals where they don't understand what it's going to take to get there. And people aren't painting them that picture. Again, we're not talking about those unsexy fundamentals. It's just, of course, do XYZ and you'll be successful in 3 months. I
Mm.
don't know. I
Mhm.
I think we get carried away with that. I think when someone can help you pick a goal that really truly is aligned for you, your beliefs, your core values, and then they help you paint the picture of what it's actually going to take to get there and
Mm.
help you see it through the lens of your values, especially, then you have someone who is truly trying to help you. Because if they're leading you towards a goal that fundamentally goes against a core value that's within you that you maybe haven't discovered yet, there's going to be hiccups. There's going to be, it's not going to feel fulfilling. It's not going to feel aligned. It's like when you put a, a destination in the GPS and it's like,
Yeah.
okay, here's the destination on the map.
Mm.
But there's something in your core beliefs, aka a glitch in the matrix of your map, that takes you off the rails and it tells you, oh, this road leads to here, but actually it leads off of a cliff. There's a
Oh my
mistake in
gosh.
there. There's something that's not going connecting the dots from start to finish. And so understanding what your beliefs are about something, diving into what you value in life, which is really powerful because those are already there. Whether you know what they are or not, they're within you. And so that's a discovering process. Brene Brown has a wonderful list online. You just look up Brene Brown core values. It's a very extensive list. Look that up and start highlighting the ones you love.
Mm.
Start
I'm gonna
there
have to
and
look
start
into that.
seeing. Yeah, it's worth it. It's worth it. There's a lot of them, and if you're a feminine mind, you want to love all of them. Like it's really hard not to highlight 25 to 30 on average, but I always encourage women to combine it, break it down into 3 to 5. Three to
It,
five core values. And again, I had like 30 highlighted when I first started, but I could see that there were clumps of them that went together. And I decided to give them those clumps that I started categorizing together names and words that made sense to me. So I discovered that my top three are freedom, love, and growth. And if I had to extend into a fourth, it would be integrity. But freedom being my number one core value, I can now look back on the lens of my life and be like, here's where I felt really good and fulfilled, and here's where I felt misaligned. And I can see that one was embodying freedom and one wasn't. And
oh
that's a
wow.
powerful thing now to have moving forward. You have a filter now. And so
Mm.
understanding your core values is going to help you achieve your core aspirations. Your belief about the thing, do you have values in conflict? And then go and find what it's going to take to get there and then decide if it's worth it before you even get started.
Oh, and I love that. You said your core values were freedom, love, and growth. That is
Yeah.
deep. That is very deep. And you know what? You are true. You are definitely saying facts because a lot of us are so influenced with such a external things that society basically tells you to be. But I like how you basically, try to bring that in together and to help these individuals, just finding that self-worth and aligning themselves. And you talk about goals. Have those goals in mind. What are those goals? And having goals that are attainable. I remember somebody telling me not too long ago, you want to make sure that you set up goals for yourself that you're not gonna be able to fulfill them. Don't set yourself up for failure, what I'm trying to say, right? When you come across a person who is all over the place, right? They just are stuck in their ways in life and they have so many goals. Their mind thinks 1,000 miles per hour. And how does that how can you help that person find that consistency balance in there, because it's just like, again, you have so many external factors or influences out there, but then again, how do you find those goals that you really like, okay, this is what I need to do next? How does that work?
Yeah, giving people permission to actually sit and decide what really matters to them versus what they think they need to do for the perception of others is really neat. It's really neat. So, again, there are so many things that people are doing for not only the perception of others, but to appease their parents or
Yes.
so many crazy things. And it's it's
It's
really,
hard.
really fun.
Yeah.
I love this work so much. It's so fun for you to give someone permission to be like, yeah, but what do you truly love? Like, what do you care about? Here's a really good example. I, again, listen for the freedom lens here. I homeschool my children. I work from home, building my own schedule. I have chickens. I have land. I live on a dirt road in a small town, and I have never been more at peace or fulfilled. But that also keeps me very, very busy and busy in the things that I choose to prioritize. And so on our pathway leading up to my house, sometimes the weeds, and I use that in air quotations because some of them are actually really cool plants, weeds are growing up in between the cement slabs going up to my house. And for a while, my parents would come over and be like, hey, are you going to take care of these weeds? Are you going to do this? Are you going to maintain this? And I would appease them and say, yeah, I'm going to get to it, or I'll get Chris on it, my husband, or I would say something like that. And then when I started to shift that within myself, and I would look at the weeds in between the cracks, and I was like, God, this doesn't bother me. This doesn't bother me at all. They look like tiny little forests. It's like a little jungle path walking up
Mm.
the path. I like it. I like how lush it looks and how rural it looks. I mean, they're not a foot long or anything like that. They're just like a couple centimeters high. It's like this beautiful little jungle when you walk up to my house. I think it's beautiful, actually. And so then I sat with that. I'm like, well, why am I putting pressure on myself to meet this expectation of my parents, who I'm very close with and I love dearly, genuinely. I have such a good relationship with my folks. I'm so grateful for that. And so the next time they said it, I said, you know what? It's actually not a priority for me right now. I like it.
Wow.
They never bothered me about it again, never mentioned it again.
Look at that.
And you think you're going to get this feedback from people. And again, you might, and you might have to hold your ground more than one time because this relationship might be different with this person. But I just, I just kept saying to myself, I like it and it's not a priority right now. You know what's a priority for me today? Being on this podcast, homeschooling my children. I have book club later. I'm not going to be out there with the weed whacker, and I'm okay with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of just a simple little example, but where are you allowing those things to take up more time in your life than they need to? And are they really a concern for you? Are they really a priority for you? Or could you be pouring into something that is actually fulfilling, that is actually meaningful to you? Now, if lawn maintenance really means something to you, then that's different.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
again,
Yeah.
use that as something. Well, if you're into taking care of your lawn, where can you prioritize that time and let go of something else that doesn't matter to you
Mm.
as much? And I think giving people permission to live through that lens is really powerful. Another great tool that you can use at home is do a frustration audit. I love giving this to people. I want you to take a notebook, a pencil, pen, whatever you like to write on, or notes in your phone, whatever you like, and just go around your entire life. like every room of your house, your household, the outdoors, the people, the persons, places, things, ideas. What actually causes frustration in your life? And I want to give you full permission to put something on the page without needing to justify it, without shame, without, oh, I shouldn't put that down. That's really not that big of a deal. If it frustrates you, it frustrates you. Do it. Put it down. Full permission. No judgment, especially from
Mm,
yourself. And then look at that list and say, what is in my control and what isn't? The things that are in your control, start making slow shifts towards the things that are frustrating you to make them to a thing that doesn't frustrate you or into something you can just let go of completely. The weeds in my pathway did not bother me at all. I let it go. Done. Never thought
yeah.
about it again. Except for how much it brings me joy when I walk on it. Love that. The things that you don't have control over, those are the moments you need to work on yourself. You don't
Mm,
have control over this thing that frustrates you, so how can you be more centered in yourself to be able to work through that, let that go, whatever that needs to look like? And it's such
wow.
a powerful exercise that I
It
find a
really
lot of
is.
success in.
Mm. Do a frustration audit. I love that. I've never heard that. That's the first time I ever done that. And I love that you point out there what is under your control and what is not.
Yeah.
That's deep right there.
A lot of people are in a lot of stress because they're trying to control things that they don't have control over. It's
Mm,
it's such a freeing practice to really start meeting things in your life with the lens of, do I have control over this or not? And I'll give you the hint. I'm going to give you the answer to that question all the time. If it's not you, the things you do, say, think, believe, feel, then the answer is no,
no.
you don't.
Wow.
You have influence. I have influence over my husband, my children, my household, the people around me, but I don't have full control. And then if you picture like a target with three circles, the center is the smallest one, and that's what you have control over. The next layer is what you have influence over. Again, not very big. And then the outer layer, the biggest layer, there are so many things in there that you don't have control over that you are trying to control or that is having a negative influence on your life. So, again, just another audit right there,
Mm,
another lens that you can start decreasing your stress, your overwhelm. What do I have control over? What don't I? And the things that I don't, how can I be better within myself to handle those things?
mm. And I like that you had mentioned again the frustration audit. It definitely makes you question how can you decrease that trust, right?
Mhm.
Asking yourself what is under your control and what is not under your control, letting things go. And you talk about, hey, if you're worrying about that lawn, there's something wrong with you there. Let's be honest, because not a lot of us like. I know for a fact I don't. Let me tell you something. My lawn, I don't even think about. I can't even flower the plants outside because I don't even think about that. So those are little things. I know it sounds cheesy, but you want to look at like what really matters to you, right?
Yeah, with full permission. Full permission. Frustration is such an indicator. It has such a negative connotation, but Alan, the CEO of NLU, Alan Lazarus, I'm so grateful to have access to his brain, his mentorship, and his knowledge of the world and people. And this is something that he started doing with his clients and himself in his own life. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is genius. Did it myself, started doing it with my clients. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is a thing. Frustration is an indicator that you are misaligned with either a standard that you have or like misaligned with your highest self and what that is trying to tell you. There's so much there, but typically it's a standard that's not being met, that you're not acknowledging. And so when you go through that, then you get to decide, okay, what am I going to take on? What am I going to outsource?
Mm.
I have another story with frustration. So we
Oh
have
no,
two
go ahead.
cats. We have two cats. One we brought across the country with us. One showed up on our doorstep now that we live out in the country, and she's been wonderful. We had no problem taking her on after we couldn't find her owner. And then a few months ago, a third cat showed up at my doorstep. And we had to
Wow.
have a family meeting because my family fell in love with this cat right away. And we knew she was a barn cat. She was very young. She didn't have previous owners. And I'm looking around at my family like, you soft hearted, wonderful little humans, but like, damn, three cats? What are we doing? So here's the thing. I said, if we're going to take on this cat, we're going to have a pros and cons list. We're going to sit down and have a pros and cons list. And then I'm going to tell you what my concerns are and what I would need to see happen for us to take on a third cat. We have the
Mm.
list, pros and cons. And I said, I cannot take on another thing that I have to take care of, genuinely. So if we get this third cat, it is on the three of you, my two sons and my husband,
Yeah.
who also just has this beautiful heart for animals. I call him Dr.
Oh,
Doolittle because the animals just follow him around. They love him so much. And I said, so I need to not be burdened by this thing. I will love it, of course. Pets, all the things. I love it. I love it. But I'm not going to do an extra cat litter. I'm not going to do. I said, and if anything, actually, if we take on another cat, I'm never touching another cat litter again. So that is now
mhm.
on you guys. And my kids are old enough.
Mm.
They're almost 11 and 13. So I'm not putting this on to toddlers. And so where can you have a little bit of self-worth and boundaries within yourself to outsource and alleviate stress as well? Outsourcing is really important. DRI is really important. Who's the directly responsible individual? How can you make that not you, ladies, all the time?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so on that list, what doesn't even need your time and attention because you're surrounded by other capable humans? That's another
Mm. Mm. And thank you so much for sharing that and outsourcing. And I love this. You added a pros and cons list, even though if it was related to your three cats or to the third cat that
great.
you introduced to the family. I love that. And as we come to a closure to our podcast here, to our conversation, when women walk away from you, let's just go there. And whether it's through your beautiful coaching and your work, an event, or even in listening to you on a podcast, what is that one little thing you hope sticks with them long after the conversation ends?
That self-awareness is everything.
Mm,
The more
that's
you
deep.
know about you, the better your life is going to be. And the more you have the courage to dive into who you actually are, light and dark, highs and lows, what you act like when you're triggered versus what you act like when you're in joy. If you have the courage to go into those dualities, because I think when we're looking at self awareness and personal development on Instagram, it's all sunshine, rainbows, momentum. It's,
Right?
yes, yes, and yes, and if you're actually doing the work to self awareness and personal development, it actually gets really hard sometimes. It gets really hard to say, hey,
Yeah.
I have a lot of shame around this.
Mm,
This thing happened because I wasn't aware enough to make a better choice. And that is putting me in shame. And I'm going to, now that I have acknowledged this, choose to do better in the future. And then you have to accept that you might not do better again in the future the first time, but you might have awareness quicker. And then that awareness gets shorter, and then the reaction shifts. You have to have so much humility to understand that this journey takes time. But the more you can learn about you, again, your core values, core beliefs, core aspirations, what level of self belief and self worth you have, what is your ability to be consistent? Be honest with yourself. And then how can you have humility to start small and sustainable to be more consistent moving forward? There's so much within learning about the self because then you're going to be more empowered to understand the things that you can control, what you say, think, do, believe. And you're going to
yeah.
feel more in control of that, more empowered because you know what those things are. You know where they're coming from. You know what is an empowered response versus an automatic response that's coming from a core wound. There's so much to dive into there. And it's okay if it's messy, if it's okay if it doesn't feel good every day. In fact, if it doesn't, I would say that you are working harder and better at it than the average person. So keep going and dive into yourself as much as possible, past, present, and future.
Oh, I love that. That's so deep. And let me ask you, Amy, you've done so much great coaching work out there, so many speaking engagements, I mean, podcasts. And I want to know what's in the future in store for you. What's going to happen with Amy later down the road? If we were able to catch up a year with you, like a year from now, what would you tell me that you're excited or that you're currently working on? What is in the next steps for you in the pipeline?
That is a beautiful question. Thank you. I think what's really cool is people, humans, we overestimate what we can do in a day, always. How often do you have 10 things on a checklist and you're like, yeah, I'm going to get them all done today, and you get two done. But we always underestimate what we can do in a year with
Mm-hmm.
consistency and awareness and intention.
Yeah.
And like I said, I fell in love with the word holistic, and I fell in love with this company because they believe in holistic self-improvement, health, wealth, love, quality of life, and how we can have them all through personal development success. And I deeply believe that in a year, because I'm so dedicated to all of those things in my life, I will be healthier, happier, more in love, more wealthy. And I know that that comes across arrogant to some who have low self belief. But I'm telling you, if you build your self belief and if you know what you're going for and you take small actions to those things every day, your belief in the outcome becomes very high. And so I deeply believe those things for myself. And I believe my coaching practice will expand, my speaking will expand. We have big
Yes.
plans at NLU for expanding group coaching and the different facets of what that's going to look like. So we have a lot going on. And I'm so grateful to say, as a company, we have the most momentum we've ever had right now. So in a year, it's going to look pretty incredible if we keep on this trend line.
And I love how passionate you speak about it, Amy. I could tell that you genuinely love what you do. And let me tell you, if you do come out with a book with all these wonderful, suggestions and advice that you have for those out there that are just lost, I definitely want to be part of that. I can only imagine when you get ready to write that book, please let me know. I could only imagine. Amy, and finally, where can my people find you, our listeners, support your work and learn about you?
Well, if it's a book you're waiting for, everyone out there, it's going to be a long time coming. I've never even thought about writing a book.
You
So
should. You
if you
should.
don't want to wait for a book that I have no plans to write, I would just invite you to come talk to me. My DMs are always open. My first call is always free. Genuinely. I call them connection calls, just to help people connect with someone who even just is a safe space to feel heard, listened to, give you permission to share that frustration on it or to
Yeah.
even write it. But I have Facebook and Instagram. It's just at Amy Lenius. You can message me anytime. And again, my first call is free. And if you are looking for a safe space to grow and dive into just a small 0.1% self improvement every day, we do have a free Facebook group that I myself run and post in every day. It's called Next Level Nation. It's free to join, and we would love to have you there.
Oh, Next Level Nation. Y'all heard that. That's great. And thank you so much, Amy. Beautiful. You guys heard her. Follow, support, stay connected with your beautiful work. I mean, you just are helping wonderful women out there redefining success and step into alignment. And Amy, I want to thank you so much for bringing your truth, your energy, and your heart to this space today. Really appreciate this conversation.
I do too. Thank you so much for having me on your platform. I genuinely don't take it lightly when people allow me to speak into their lives. So thank you for facilitating such a beautiful conversation, asking great questions. I appreciate it.
Oh, yes. And remember, for everyone listening out there, think about Amy's message out there. Self awareness is everything. Okay. Think about the core values, the core beliefs. And for everyone listening out there, just ask yourself those questions. Thank you so much for tuning in and leaning in into another fearless and wonderful conversation. And again, this isn't a goodbye. This is until next time. Con mucho amor. This has been Conversations with Iris. Thank you all.